You're live.
We're live.
What's up, everybody out there in Facebook/YouTube land? Sam is golfing on our carpet today.
I'm going to show you guys how you're supposed to swing the golf club, and then I'm going to show you how I swing the golf club when I go on the golf course. And then usually dust it. So.
Notice that's a putter. I don't think you're supposed to be swinging putters like that no matter what, right? I don't know a lot about golf, but
Yeah.
Well, yes, that's probably true too. So I think that's maybe where I'm going wrong. Maybe I should use the putter off the tee box.
yes.
Phil usually tries to give me advice, and
He's never said that one to you?
no, he hasn't.
Today we have CJ Shockley with us. He's the project manager here at Faster House. He manages about 50 rehabs a year, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian Schroeder, Sam Prim, Lucas Walls. Thanks for joining us, guys. We have a flipping business in the St. Louis area, a bunch of rentals, hard money lending business, traditional brokerage, and this education gig.
A little bit of everything, or
A little bit of
fingers in
everything.
the pot of everything with real estate.
So we want to talk real estate investing today. So we do this every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. So thanks for joining us out there. If anybody has any questions, Hannah. Hi, Hannah. Thanks for joining us, Hannah. If you guys got questions, throw them in the live stream. The questions, comments. If you just want to make fun of CJ for some reason, just throw it.
Or Sam.
Or Sam.
I'm the easiest target here, and I'm okay with that.
And we would love it if you like or share this video. We appreciate you guys all joining us. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
It's a little. We always like to start with like kind of a market recap, just kind of talking about how the market is these days. So how have leads been this week, Sam?
Leads have been all right. I think in the last week we had 14 leads. Our goal is 20, so they were down a little bit, but we had 3 under contract, which is kind of right where we shoot for in a week. So it's a little bit down, but not too bad. The week before we had over 20, so it kind of probably evens out. But leads have been pretty good, pretty strong. Buys have been pretty good, pretty strong. And I know the retail market's been doing very well as well.
Yeah, sales have been great. I think 5 or 6 under contract to sell in the last week. Dropped our newest rehab on the market this weekend, and that sold first day for $100 over asking. But
$100 over asking.
100 net 100. Actually, about $4,000 over asking, but we had some closing costs in there. But so we don't have a lot of inventory. Probably the lowest inventory the flipping business has had in a long, long time because stuff is flying off the shelf still.
The market is hot. In our traditional brokerage, it seems like everything that comes on the market sells quick. So the market is hot. So I don't know. It kind of makes me wonder. It always, I don't know, when the market is hot this time of year, even though we got this virus thing going on, I almost forget that it's out there sometimes. But when the market is hot this time of the year, I always kind of get a little concerned about how it's going to be like in late summer, fall, winter, just because a lot of times when you buy a house, by the time you rehab it, get it bought, get a rehab, get it on the market, it's 3-4 months down the road. So how do you guys feel about the market 3, 4, 5 months from now? Any ideas?
We got CJ rehabbing them, so we'll have no problem selling them.
Lightning speed.
Yeah, lightning speed.
Oh,
I think, yeah, I think on 3-4 months down the road, it's a really unique time because I think that the market is later blooming right now. So potentially in that July, August period when things kind of slow down, it could still kind of be at the height because right now it's kind of like it usually is in like April or, end of March, beginning of April. So everything kind of bloomed a little bit late. So that makes me think that it'll probably be stronger a little bit later, but who knows if there's a second wave or if some of the unemployment things and the stimulus money starts to dwindle a little bit, that might affect it. So I don't know. All I know is we want CJ to do quick, easy rehab so we don't get caught to dry too long.
Get in and out of them quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, to me, it's kind of like every other year, honestly. It's real hot in the spring and summer. Then you kind of get excited and start buying maybe a little higher than you normally buy. And then all of a sudden come fall, winter, you're a little over leveraged or something. So we don't want to get in that position, especially right now, I think, with all the unemployment that's out there.
Yeah. Well, cool. It'll be interesting to see what happens through the summer and fall. I just Debbie and I are going to go to Orlando in July, and I just saw Disney World's opening the day we are in Orlando, so we might pop in, say hi to Mickey and stuff.
Nice. I heard the NBA might play in Disney
Is that
when they
right?
reopen. That's what I heard, but
Oh,
we'll
I
see.
love that. Maybe
Yeah.
I can pop in for a game.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to allow that.
No, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
You can pop in, you get kicked out right now. You can go in there if you want, but
Yeah, so much weirdness going on in the world. We didn't talk about rentals. How's rentals treating you guys this week?
Good. Probably obviously a few days left of the month to collect. We're at 94, 95%. So hopefully get up to that 96, 97% with this final push at the end of the month the last few days.
I think we'll collect pretty much the same we collected in April.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
a
think-
tad more, but pretty similar to what we collected in April. So our two biggest worry months so far has been April and May, and we're still going to have collected close to 100% in both of them. So
And we have an apartment on the market for rent and a house in St. Charles. And we, with those two, we got 10 applications over the weekend. So renters are still out there looking for places.
Yeah, I second that. There's a lot of renters out there looking right now. Been able to rent our houses pretty quickly and at pretty good prices. Been real happy with that. So we always like to do a quick shout out to a trusted vendor for our education business or our club. This week it is Corey Boyle's Photography. Corey is an incredible photographer and an incredible dude. We use him on all of our rehabs.
Yep.
So every time when we get the rehab done, Corey comes out.
He's incredible. Yeah, he's quick and fast every time.
Yeah,
You count on him, so.
and he makes, you know,
The quality is great too. You can put them side by side to anybody else that I've ever had. Take anything, and it's no comparison.
yeah, and so many people shop for houses online before they ever go look at them. So it's just so important to have your photos looking really cool.
yeah, we're going to do a quick before and after walk through one of our rehabs, quick slideshow here in a minute, and CJ's going to talk through it. And Corey took those pictures, and you can see the quality of the pictures are awesome. So you get to see some of his work.
Shout out to Corey Boyle. He's
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
One of my favorite things he does, real quick, is he makes the sky look like it's a perfect sunny day.
No matter what it's like
no matter
outside.
what it's like outside. So he's got this technology can do that, and during this time of year with all the rain, it's important really because it's that first picture.
Yes.
Cool.
Totally.
Well, let's get to a question. First question, how do you get, before we get into the rehabs, how do you get most of your leads for your as-is houses?
You take that one,
I can
Sam.
answer that one. So we have 4 full-time buyers, and their job is to basically buy a house a week, 4 houses a month. Half of those they buy through their own marketing, so dealing with wholesalers, dealing with real estate agents, talking to insurance agents, driving for dollars, doing a lot of the stuff on their own. So they get a lot of leads that way. But the marketing that we pay for, a majority of our leads come in through our website, through SEO. So people go online and type, I want to sell my house fast, St. Louis, or sell my house to an investor. And our website pops up near the top and people click on there. So that's a majority of the leads we get. We get quite a few from direct mail as well. We send 5,000 to 10,000 pieces of direct mail a month. So we get probably a quarter-ish of our leads and buys through direct mail. So those are kind of our main channels. We do a lot online with Facebook and stuff like that as well that kind of trickle into our SEO, but kind of direct mail and then SEO online is our 2 biggest channels. I'm always experimenting with little different things to try and get the next big thing. But those are the tried and true ones that we do every single month, no matter what.
What did you do when you guys kind of got started? Was there anything different that you did early on versus what we're doing now?
We just bought from wholesalers when we got started. We did a couple ourselves. We talked to agents, a couple of them we bought, directly from the homeowner. An agent brought us in, and we were able to, basically do the sales pitch that we do now. But yeah, it was just wholesalers when our first, 20, 30 doors were from wholesalers.
Yep.
And we were able to buy them and still bear out. So there's still deals out there. So hopefully that answers your question. If you have any follow-up questions, throw it in there for sure. We'll get to it.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Scott. That's awesome. All right, CJ, let's get to it. So what's your role here at Fast House? What do you do?
So my role is project manager. So essentially I manage all our projects, all our rehabs. So make sure everything happens the way it's supposed to.
Awesome. And how many projects do you got going on right now, give or take?
We just finished 2, but we're getting a couple more. So we got 4 or 5 going right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the two we just finished, what's the status of those?
So one is sold already. We listed that on Friday and got a contract Saturday night or Sunday morning, something like that.
For
And
$100 over
$100
asking.
over asking, yes.
In the first day?
Yeah.
That's freaking incredible.
Yeah, so I was thinking about it. I think all but one of the rehabs that we've done since I've been here have sold in like the first 3 days.
We should keep him.
Is that you're trying to get a raise? Is that what you're trying to say? Is that your
Well, it's an
subtle
interesting
way to
comment,
ask
you know.
that you want a raise?
But
So how long have you been here then?
since January.
Since January.
Like
So
middle
what
of
is it?
January.
5 months?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
The one that sold this weekend, CJ, what was the specs on that house? Price point, beds and baths, location?
Yeah, so it was in Chesterfield, condo, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, or 2.5.
Yeah, I think I
Sorry.
had a half that, yeah.
Yeah, 3-bedroom, 2.5, 189 asking. I don't remember exactly what we bought it for. 115.
105.
105.
When you have a really, really good buyer that buys the house really, really cheap, it makes it
Sam
easy
Walker's
to
one.
rehab. So
But, yeah, and we put under 25 in it. The rehab took, I think, 3 weeks total, and then sold in the first day. So.
Yeah, so it's kind of right in our wheelhouse, under that 250 mark in a great part of town with a cosmetic rehab. So first of all, we picked the right house to rehab, but then you executed it perfectly.
yeah, and then we'll talk about that in our example we're going to go over, but he does stuff high quality for a very low price. I think my budget was like 35 or 30 or 30 to 35 when I walked it, which is not a perfect budget because I'm walking, it's your job and you sit down and crunch the numbers, but I think it was 30 or 35 I bought it on and we got it done for 25. So that's, that's part of how you can make extra money.
So we did the rehab for about 25,000. Roughly how long did it take you for the rehab?
I think it was like 3 weeks was as
That's
far
incredible.
as the work time. Yeah.
We should keep him.
Yes.
All right, good stuff. So do you have any tips for finding and keeping and managing good contractors? When I was asking around, what kind of questions should I ask CJ? It seemed like it was all around how do you find good contractors? How do you know if they're honest? How do you pay them? How do you keep them? So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I mean, the best way that I found to find contractors is talk to other people that also use contractors. So finding, we have a FasterFreedom group. Obviously, there's a lot of people that do the same thing that we do. And so if I need somebody, I can ask those people, and they've already used bad ones and used good ones.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, it's just try them. If they don't work out, you don't use them again.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to tell right away, even before they do the work. You can see if somebody's gonna be a good contractor. They communicate well. Do they answer your calls? Do they respond? Do they get you? Do they do what they say they're gonna do? Gonna go, get you an estimate, and do they get it to you quickly?
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell right away.
So are most of the contractors you're using like small, like 1 or 2 person shows, or are they bigger companies that?
Small 1 or 2 person shows. I find reliability is a lot of times actually better than the big companies because they just have so many people. They don't care as much.
Yeah.
Because it's just a sales guy or just an employee. And the 1 or 2, if it's just 1 or 2 outfit, they're generally cheaper too.
They probably don't have a website or a phone number in the phone book or anything like that.
No, a lot of them don't.
Does anybody use phone books anymore?
No.
Just
No.
you, Brian.
Google. Google.
Google,
You
yeah.
probably can't Google them.
They might be on Google.
They might be on Google?
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's a good point. The very initial thing he said was good contractors work with good investors and good investors work with good contractors. So if you know a good investor that you know and respect, they'll most likely happily hand you their contractor that they use for a roof or for landscaping or for carpets or for kitchen cabinets or whatever it is. But yeah, if they're a good investor, then they probably have good contractors. So just go to the good investors and kind of ask around. I think it's a great way to do it.
Absolutely.
Is there a contractor that you always struggle with finding? Like, there's I don't know. There's a lot of different contractors out there. Which ones are the easiest ones to find? Which ones are more challenging?
Lately, we've been struggling with plumbers. Haven't finding a good plumber.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's any different than any others, but plumbing's been rough lately. But I think we're getting it figured out.
Other than plumbing, you're in pretty good shape. You got a pretty good team.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing is like you reciprocate. So, like we give the good contractors consistent work and
Yeah.
we pay on time.
There's a question on
Communicate.
pay. So how much do you front your contractors before they start, if any?
Generally zero.
Okay.
If it's a new contractor, sometimes they have rules where, like they want half deposit up front. Which we might do on the first time, but after they figure out us and that we're reliable, a lot of times they don't, they'll just do the work and then we pay them. It's done.
So are you typically paying are they bidding the job and then once the job's over, you just pay them, or are you doing time and materials with anybody? Or
Generally just a bid and the pay. We have one contractor we kind of do time and materials with, but he's been with us a long time and it's kind of like a set price. So we know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So a quick shout out. Who do we got to shout out there? We got Hannah, Dustin, Scott that asked some questions. We got another one for him. James and Anita. Benita, thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate it. If you haven't already, please share it on your page. Scott mentioned that he's having trouble with painters. Have you had issues finding painters or?
Well, we have a couple guys that are kind of our general contractors that kind of do a lot of different stuff for us, including our painting. And so I actually haven't had to find like in general just a painter because they do multiple different things.
I think that helps us keep our costs down and our schedule fast because, like you said, CJ, we have one person or one crew, one company do multiple things.
Right.
Painting, flooring, light fixtures, electrical switches and outlets, minor plumbing. And then we rarely bring in other trades. Unless it's a permitted type portion of the project. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the kind of rehabs we're trying to do anyways, we're trying to stay away from any major problems. So one crew can handle most of the stuff that we're trying to do in our rehabs.
So what's the typical dollar amount of a rehab that you manage?
So I'd say average probably like 20. We normally try to stay under 30 for our rehabs because we are just doing cosmetic rehabs.
Okay.
So we want to get them done fast. And so if you're getting into like a 50, 60, 70 grand rehab for one, you got a lot more money in it, but then the timeline draws out a lot longer.
Yeah.
So
Scott's got the question. I like him. Keep them coming, Scott. Answer that, CJ. Do we use the same color scheme?
We do. There's a few things that we've tweaked around, but we try to keep all our rehabs looking just real clean, nice, something that attracts everybody, that everybody likes. And so we use pretty much the same color scheme on everything we've done.
So what color scheme is in these days?
So like this gray wall, similar like flooring to the type this. We do brushed nickel, for most of our hardware and lights and that kind of stuff. Brushed nickel's cheap. It's easy. You can find everything in it, and it looks nice. So, and then we typically do, like a granite countertops, white cabinets.
Do you feel like you yourself are pretty good at designing aspects? Do you enjoy that aspect, or do you bring in somebody else to give you feedback on that?
A little bit of both. Sometimes a lot of design stuff can get expensive, so we try to stay away from them. But a lot of the simpler stuff I like doing. But if there's something I have a question on, we have a really good agent that lists all our properties, so I'll ask her, or my wife too. She loves doing that stuff, so ask her.
How do you ask them? Do you just take photos?
Take a
and
picture, send it,
Yeah.
and see what they think. Yeah.
Yep.
We generally have all kinds of ideas.
They do?
Yeah.
Are most of their ideas usually expensive?
My wife's, yes. She's listening, but that's okay.
That's all right.
She knows.
She knows. You're not telling her anything she doesn't know. Daryl said, "Yeah, I have heard people pay kind of a third. I think it just kind of depends on which, third beginning, third mid, third end. It kind of just depends on you and your contractor. But ideally, you just pay them when the work's done and pay them fast. That's what we do. So
Exactly.
Do you find yourself negotiating a lot with the subcontractors, or have you already built relationships where you don't do a lot of that? Or?
Yeah, I don't do.
So,
his wife getting at him a little bit.
Yeah.
Keep
What's
him
he
coming.
say? Hey now.
I don't generally have to actually do too much negotiating because so much of the work that we do, we've got good contractors that we trust, and like if they say it's going to cost this much, I trust them. I know it's going to cost that much. So I don't try to do too much negotiating unless if it's a new contractor or something and I think it's something crazy, I'm gonna let them know.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right, but
Yeah.
for the most part, you don't have to.
And to me, I feel like the people that do the most negotiating, you're not going to build that relationship and use them more than once.
Right.
So you're always going to be turning over contractors. So there's a learning curve after learning curve after learning curve with all your new contractors.
Absolutely.
Lucas, your mustache game is strong. I think you need to shave the rest and just go. That's a
I can
pretty
do that.
thick caterpillar up there you got going.
Would you call me Borat like I called you Borat?
I would, yes.
All
We'll get to that video. But I just noticed that's a big old upper lip guy going on there.
Nice. Well, appreciate you looking at me.
All right, let's continue on with the show.
So where do you get most of your supplies from? Are there certain places that you like to?
Yeah, so most of our supplies are Sherwin-Williams for all our paint, and then
Yay.
Home Depot is for most of our other stuff. We got a guy there at the Pro Desk that he gets us good prices on stuff, and they have pretty much everything we need.
So you got any tips for working with either Sherwin-Williams or Home Depot?
Yeah, so just find a guy that you like and keep using them. Talk to them a lot, and obviously the more you do with them, the more they're willing to work with you and work to get better prices.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have the contractors go get the material or do you get the material?
So I actually get the materials. I like contractors. I trust them, but a lot of times they're just going to go and pick whatever. They're not concerned necessarily about how it's going to go with the rest or what it looks like. And so I like kind of controlling that aspect. And since we do the same kind of scheme in all the houses, I kind of have like all the set, lights that we use and tile that we use. And so it's really easy just to go and I need this much for this rehab. And
So are you physically going and picking it up?
nope, they deliver it. It's free or $10, I think. So, and anywhere they'll deliver it, so you can't beat that. And
So are you shopping online then? You just get it
Yep.
on their website? You
just on the
shopping?
website and just make sure it's in stock and they can get it.
So does FasterFreedom have a account set up that you
Yeah,
guys
so
do?
we have a pro account at Home Depot, and we have got the business card, and so just run it through that.
Do you feel like by doing that you're getting a discount off of off the price shelving is at Home Depot?
Yeah, absolutely. So far since we've been doing it, it's been anywhere from 10% to 20% on every item
Okay,
is our discount.
significant. That adds up.
Yeah.
That does for sure. That's awesome. Let's dig into our example.
We got an example?
We do. We got an example. So this property's off of Zeus. We'll show you pictures here in a little bit. Luke's and I did a YouTube video on this as well that Rachel put the link in the description, and we'll show you the little thumbnail for our YouTube channel, FasterFreedom. But we bought this house in St. Charles. It's a good house in a good area that it didn't need a bunch of work, and we basically did a very inexpensive rehab that was still very quality. So we're going to kind of go over some pictures, and CJ is going to tell you what he did before and after. You'll be able to see what he did, but he's going to explain what he did and why he did it. So we'll hop into those real quick. So as you can see, here's the kitchen. So why don't you just walk us through the kitchen, CJ?
Yeah,
before and
so
after.
kitchen, obviously you can tell we painted cabinets. It's cheap, easy, change the hardware, which just gives the cabinets an updated look from the old 90s oak. We also added crown molding on the top, which just gives a nice little touch over just regular cabinets. We put the stainless steel hood in, which just kind of gives it something a little different, I think, kind of makes it stand out from just putting, a regular microwave in, and kind of really ups how it looks, I feel like. Then we put the granite countertops in, which a lot of times people think, which I used to think this, actually the granite countertops are really expensive. So if you're doing a rehab or whatever, it's kind of out of reach unless it's a really nice one. But we get granite countertops actually for a really good price installed. And so we pretty much do it on all ours because it just, people love granite.
What do you think that kitchen costs for granite? Just about.
I think it's $1,200 or $1,300.
Wow.
$1,200 or $1,300 for that
Mhm.
countertop?
Yeah.
That's
And
freaking
it looks,
awesome.
and it looks so nice, and people prefer it for sure over
Yeah.
naming it.
And yeah, with the big island piece too, actually, you can see it's kind of almost like a little bar
Yeah.
there that you can sit at. And then you can see that nice X on the bar. That was kind of a funny deal. So we wanted to put something on there just to give it something to look like. But I kind of wanted like a shaker style on the back of the cabinet. You've seen that a lot on islands. like squared out all the way around and maybe something in the middle. And I sent some pictures to my contractor, and then I showed up one day, and that's what he had.
Nice.
He took it into his own hands.
Yeah,
I love it.
But it worked out. I mean, we sold the house right away, and it's different.
Couple things that I noticed about the kitchen. One is that in the before picture there is a refrigerator. In the after picture there is not. Do you always not put refrigerators in your kitchens?
If we're not changing appliances and there's already one there, obviously we'll leave it. But we always change to stainless appliances, and we don't get refrigerators, just because I don't feel like you get any more for the house for having it. You're essentially just giving somebody a free fridge if you put one in there, because they're going to ask for it, of course. And so we generally don't put fridges.
And they're not cheap. They're the most expensive appliance. by
Right,
far.
exactly. They almost double your appliance cost. Like if we got like a nice big, French door or side by side, it's $1,500 fridge.
Minimum, yeah. Cool. Let's see look at the living room.
Yep. So living room, obviously we didn't do too much. We painted the walls, the trim, put new carpet in, and then we painted the built-in fireplace there, the same color as the kitchen cabinets, just make a match, and that's hardly any cost added when you're already painting the other stuff.
It doesn't look like we didn't paint the beam across top or anything like that. It looks like
Put a new fan in.
a new fan and paint, and that's carpet. That's a good inexpensive way to make that room look nice.
Yeah, the paint color is Amazing Gray
Yep.
from Sherwin-Williams, and we always do an eggshell on our retail flips just because it just shows a lot better than a flat paint does.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on to the bathroom. So here's a pretty inexpensive bathroom right here.
Yeah. So obviously you can tell like a lot of it looks a lot nicer, but we didn't do hardly anything. We put floor in and painted that vanity.
Same color as the kitchen cabinets, right?
Same color as kitchen cabinets, yeah. We did put a new light in too, sorry.
The toilet looks new too, I think.
Yeah, toilet's new.
So probably $500 or less in that bathroom, and it definitely pops. Where it helps that it's in good shape. So.
Yeah, looks great.
And then those are the main things. And then here is just a reminder to go to our YouTube channel, FasterFreedom. This is the video. If you didn't look at the link, if you just go to the page and you can see this is our little thumbnail we use. So how to get a big profit. I think we made $35,000 on that net on that one, and it's a quick rehab, even quicker than probably was 2.5 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty quick, 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's when Sam had the Borat mustache, as I can see.
That is when I had the Borat mustache. Yes.
That's why you're bringing up the mustache.
Yes.
I got it.
See, it all plays
It all
together.
comes together. It all comes around.
Back to the show.
DJ, you got any advice with working with municipalities or inspectors on getting your properties passed? And
Yeah, it's a lot of like working with contractors. You got to build that relationship with them. I've found that if you actually go into the inspections, it's a lot better than just letting them go through and kind of having free reign, just to pick up whatever they want. If you go and you're talking to them and they understand, like, okay, these guys they're good people. They're not trying to just do a really crappy job and get it by. They did nice stuff. I find that a lot of times inspectors will take it easier on you.
Yeah.
They don't nitpick on every little thing, and so yeah,
did you have any challenges with inspections during this virus or the shelter in place or anything?
So yeah, we had a few different properties. We had one that we were dealing with in Arnold, and Arnold's whole like public works has been closed, and so it took 2 or 3 weeks even just to get a hold of somebody to get our property passed to where we can start rehabbing it. As far as everybody else, it hasn't been too bad. It's been a little more phone calls or emailing, which is actually nice. Some municipalities opening that up, because in the past, a lot of them you have to go there no matter what. And so with the coronavirus stuff, they've actually allowed you to just call or email, which is better in my opinion. It's a lot easier instead of having to go to every city to get your inspection.
I want to touch on that relationship thing before the virus you guys are talking about. It's so important because a lot of these inspectors, they're going to be in that job for years, 20, 30 years sometimes. So it doesn't help to be an asshole to these guys. They got a job to do. So build that relationship up front, build that trust, and me and my other project manager for the rental team actually went out to see these guys offline before, like after hours. So we went to see one of their bands play, and
Nice.
it's because we like them. We've built a relationship with them. But it doesn't hurt our inspections either.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. So, how about how do you keep yourself organized, and how do you keep your projects organized? I know you're doing 4, 5, 6, 7 rehabs at a time, and they're not huge rehabs, but there's still quite a bit going on. So, how do you? Is there any tips you can give people on how to stay organized, or any softwares you use, or anything along those lines?
Yeah, definitely. Don't leave it up to just your head. Well, at least for me anyways, my memory is not that great. So here at Faster House, we use a program called Podio. So we keep a lot of stuff organized in there as far as schedules and budgets and scopes and that kind of stuff. For me, the biggest thing that helps me, I have a notepad that like anything that needs to be done or that I need to do, I write down on it and I go through it like multiple times a day. I mean, as much technology and stuff as we have, I still find that that's the best thing for me. I know what I got to do. If it's on there, I got to do it, and I go through it. And
That is the same thing. I carry that notebook with me everywhere. So.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd be in trouble if you lost that.
And then I probably have like 50 notes in my Google Notes on my phone, like just different stuff that I got to keep track of.
So you use Podio to kind of help you stuff organized, but there's also times where you just need to write things down, and it doesn't have to be that fancy, I guess is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'll be talking on the phone, or somebody will send me a text, and like instead of I'll always have that notepad there, so I just jot it on the notepad and make sure I don't forget.
Yeah.
And then obviously having the text and the email, that helps too, because we can always check back through that.
Yeah.
Make sure that we get stuff done.
How often do you go visit the houses that you're managing? So if you got a rehab project going on at a house in St. Peter's, how often are you there?
I'd say probably once a week. It kind of depends on where we're at in the project. Towards the beginning of our project and towards the end, I'm there more. In the middle, as long as, because like we talked about, I trust my contractors.
Yeah.
So if there's something going on, they're going to let me know. But otherwise, getting the project set up and getting materials, I might be there a couple times up front, and then once a week, maybe probably through the project, make sure stuff's moving along, and then a couple times at the end to make sure contractor's finished and it's getting cleaned and staged and all that good stuff.
Jake has a question. What kind of insurance do you require from our contractors?
So we require all our contractors to have general liability insurance. I don't know the amount off the top of my head.
I think it's $1 million.
Yeah.
Just $1 million or $2 million.
It's $1 million.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a lot, but it's really cheap for contractors.
Yeah, like $50 to $80 a month, depending on the trade, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So we require for all our contractors to have insurance.
Do you get any pushback from any contractors on that?
I've had a few that said they don't have it, but like essentially, if I tell them that we'll give them the job if they get it.
Yeah, and we've actually, if we really wanted to use somebody and they were really adamant about not getting the insurance, we would get the insurance for them and pay their first couple months just so they could do the job for us. And then if they wanted to keep it after that, it's up to them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
Amazing.
She on here?
Apparently.
She is so tech savvy.
She is.
So have you rehabbed any houses just on your own?
I've done a couple just personally on my own. Yeah. I've been a part of hundreds probably, but yeah, as far as on my own, just a couple.
Yeah. So let's dig into that just a little bit. So I know prior to working here, you did a fair amount of rehabs for basically a property manager.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like it's different managing a house you're going to sell on the end versus managing a house that you're going to rent on the end? Or any differences there?
Yeah, so rental houses, people aren't concerned near as much about how nice it looks, or even how, depending on the manager, I guess I should say, or who owns the house. Not near as concerned about how nice the house is, how well it looks. They're not concerned if it'll sell at all. They just want it done as fast and as cheap as possible so that a renter can get in there.
Okay.
And not, like I said, that's not Not everybody, but the ones that I work for.
Okay.
That's how it is.
Okay.
So.
You got any, what do you think on that, Lucas?
Yeah, no, I like that. That's good. Us as owners, probably we're in the middle. I would say, we like nicer houses, but we're not going to do the design touches that we did in the Zeus kitchen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We want nice, clean stuff with high quality products, but as far as like certain design touches, no way.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
And you guys, I've heard you talk often about on your rentals, trying to make them bulletproof so they're maintenance free long term.
Where that's not much of a concern with the rehabs for retail. More than likely, we'll probably put carpet in a basement on a retail sale if it's got a finished area, because we're not as worried about it getting wet and damp over the long term. Whereas a rental, we'd put luxury vinyl plank in the basement more than likely.
You're more hard surface everything you can in rentals, whether it's the style or not. It is kind of the style right now to do that in houses, but regardless, we would do it anyway for rentals because it's the hard surface and less maintenance. So
Yeah.
You got any advice for somebody that's new to the business on either managing a rehab or
find other people that have done it and are doing it, and talk to them, pick their brain, figure out how they do it, what they do, because it's really easy, I think, to get in over your head on a rehab. There's just, if you've never done it, there's so much stuff that you don't even think you need to look for that costs a lot, or it's really easy to over rehab houses too, spend way too much money on, maybe you might get granite, but you might get $10,000 granite over $1,000 granite, which really doesn't need to be done when you're selling.
That's interesting. So on that kitchen that you showed us earlier, that was a little over $1,000 for that granite.
Right.
Is there granites out there that cost 10 grand?
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
What's the difference?
The way they look.
Is that right?
I mean, because it's still stone, it's still going to act the same, but some people got to have a certain particular look. When it's your own house, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when you're rehabbing it to sell, it's not important.
Interesting.
So.
especially in the price ranges that we're in.
Yeah.
We shoot
No,
for.
I guess
If it's a $500,000, $600,000 house, you might have spent $5 grand on that granite just to have a nicer look, or maybe the veins are better, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But the rehabs we try to stay in, we're under $250,000 on most of our houses. So
CJ is getting ready to move into a lake house with his family,
Yes.
which is exciting. And does Hannah require the $10,000 granite?
Hopefully she's not watching. Hopefully she's not.
let's hope not. Because if that's the case, it's not happening for a long time.
All right. Let's see. You got anything else you wanted
Another
to
question.
ask CJ? So,
Here's Nick Yates got a question.
Nick.
I guess we should read it. If you were 18 years old and knew everything you know now, what's the first things you would do?
I'd start buying houses.
Yeah.
I was, everybody in school is kind of encouraged to go to college and do the thing. And so I did good in school, so I was encouraged to be an engineer. I didn't know what else to do, so went to engineering school and absolutely hated it.
That's
Our all engineers.
Yeah, I know.
I'm surrounded by weirdos.
Yeah, and so done a lot of different things, but realized just like you guys talk about it all the time, is what real estate can do for you. And houses they're easy. Like, you can see what's wrong with them, you can see what to fix them. It doesn't take a genius, and you can make a lot of money. And it's long term wealth, and can be pretty passive, almost as passive as you want it. So.
You talked about this yesterday on our webinar. You want to answer that question? About the education. You got the whole slide on it yesterday.
Whole slide on it. Yeah. So kind of we have our webinar. Go to FasterFreedom.com/webinar. We're doing a 10-week course where we're teaching people how to build a rental portfolio to create passive income greater than their monthly expenses, or whatever they're wanting to do, however much we're wanting to create. But we're showing them how we have done it, and all the good, bad, and ugly that goes along with it, and really helping the people that attend get a jump start on building their rental portfolio. But one of the slides was how we got started. What we learned after the first year and what we did after we got started was basically 3 steps: educate yourself. First book we read was Rich Dad Poor Dad, which I know a lot of people probably have read that book. But educate yourself, listen to as many podcasts as possible, just get that base of information as best you can. Then protect yourself. Starting an LLC, it's not 100% necessary to buy houses. Not in your personal name. you can only buy a certain amount in your personal name and get the residential loan and standard residential rates as opposed to commercial loan. But protect yourselves. I think it's smart to get a layer between you and your family in the house, and then take massive action. You're not going to learn everything through books or through podcasts or even through this, but just take massive action. You'll learn the most as you're doing that. But if you sit there and just wait years and years to get started, you're going to wish you got started when you were 18. I think every single investor I know wishes they got started earlier. So just kind of set the foundation of knowledge, but then you got to jump. You got to do. You can't just sit there and listen to podcasts for 10 years before you buy your first house.
Yeah, I probably would go into like $60,000 in debt for college. That's probably one thing I wouldn't have done. But then again, it's made me who I am today. So it's going to take you going through this and actually doing it to figure out what you want with your life. So it's a tough question. Educate yourself, find a mentor to help you shorten that learning curve.
Brian was your mentor before Brian knew it.
Before
We
Brian
used
knew
to
it.
joke all the time that we met Brian one time and went to Buyers Club and around him a little bit, and Luke called him his mentor. I was like, he didn't even know your name.
Now look at you.
Yeah, now he does.
Absolutely. Boom. Love Lucas. But yeah, I think that's really good what you said. It's a combination of educating yourself through books, podcasts, YouTube videos,
Go to local
meetups, and then massive action. Take action. Don't just read about it or listen to podcasts for the next 5 years. You can learn a lot from podcasts and YouTube videos and coming on live streams like this. But to really understand it, you got to do it. You got to take action and go buy a house, either as a rental or something to rehab and resell and learn from that.
Yep. Either way, you're going to learn a lot. Rental, rehab.
Yeah.
What are the top three? We've got a question here right before we get wrapped up. What are the top 3 rehab items that help a retail property quickest and impact the sales price the most?
That's awesome. Good,
Yeah.
good question,
Great
Joe.
question, Joe. Thank you.
I think obviously a nice kitchen. Everybody wants and likes a nice kitchen, and then flooring that looks nice and paint that looks nice. I mean, that's like the whole house. Those are to me, I think those are the biggest things. Those are the things you see right away when you walk in the house and what everybody's looking at. If there's little other stuff that's wrong, if those 3 things are done, most people are gonna like it.
Because people don't want to go and put flooring in after they put all their furniture in. So if that's kind of taken care of, they know they're good. The kitchen, I agree, is huge. And then paint, that's a good thing. I wouldn't have thought of that, but a nice fresh coat of paint looks really nice. And that's a cheaper thing. I know.
Yeah.
Everyone says your most money spent in your kitchen and your bathrooms. Those are what people care about most, but that's where your most money is too. So it's super expensive on you. So
This is interesting. I'm glad you said that because I would have said something slightly different. And it might be just because of when I got started in this business. But I used to think that curb appeal was super important. But it might not be as important anymore because everybody shops online these days before they even go look at the house. But so I think it's still important.
Yeah.
But maybe not as important as it used to be.
and maybe not in those top 3 anymore. Maybe
Right.
it's down
I
there.
think it is important, and you can do it a lot of curb appeal for pretty cheap, like mulch and bushes, paint the front door, maybe add some shutters. That's $500, $600, $700 right there, and it just changes the whole feel of the first time that prospective buyer pulls up to that property.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with what kind of Brian was saying. I feel like half of the buyers say yes or no to the property through pictures, maybe more than that. So if you have got nice pictures with the nice kitchen and the floors and that, and the exterior needs to look good as well. But if they like all that other stuff, they're still going to go, and then maybe they'll drive by and won't like the exterior. But it looks really nice from the outside, but it's got a crappy kitchen. I feel like they may just say, all right, next one. So
There's certain things too I think people are more confident with doing, and like a lot of outside landscaping. I obviously it's good to take care of it, but people are always thinking, well, I could plant a flower here and make it look better here. Whereas redoing a whole kitchen,
Yeah,
It's overwhelming.
that's a lot more intimidating to
Yeah.
a buyer.
Yeah.
for sure. Good point there.
great question, Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome. All right, guys, it is time for us to kind of close this. So thanks everybody out there for joining us. We do this every Thursday at 11:30. So we'll be doing it again next Thursday at 11:30. We would love it if you would share this and subscribe if you're on YouTube. And got anything else to say?
Nope. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd appreciate it. It's FasterFreedom on our YouTube, and go to FasterFreedom.com to learn more about our boot camps, our webinars, and all the stuff we're doing to help teach people to become financially free through real estate.
And thank
Awesome.
you, CJ, for coming on, man.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it's great.
Dropping
Fun.
knowledge.
I'm gonna go work on
Dropping
my, I'm
knowledge.
gonna work on my golf game.
Yeah, you do need to do that.
Yeah.
Make sure you do that.
All right, see you guys.
See you guys.